The release of Supergiant in Marvel's Snap has pushed many players to investigate lockdown Alioth shells. However, one of the things that I've noticed is that most of those shells seem to be significantly better without her in it. This includes today's deck, which is a traditional lockdown deck that I had a ton of success with at High Infinite. This is the list. It is a very traditional, very straightforward lockdown deck, and right now it has phenomenal stats on untap.gg. Post Infinite. It's one of the best performing archetypes right now, and I think a lot of that is due to the ability of the deck to have reasonable matchups into Serra Control and into Hela. And I'm not saying the Hela matchup is great, but you can do things that restrict where they can play stuff, and then 50-50 on Alioth, and that takes you to a very good spot. Against Serra, Storm is a phenomenal card. Locking up those lanes is as good as it gets, and you still get to play some very strong cards that dodge most of the tech in the Serra deck. With the obvious exception being Miss Marvel, who is just too strong not to run, even if she is going to get Enchantress. A lot of the cards that you're presenting as threats in this list are going to dodge a lot of the commonly played tech. That matchup spread makes it a legitimate contender, in my opinion. This is a deck that is pretty easy to play, pretty straightforward, just a solid, easy to play, easy to grasp, pick it up and go deck that I had a lot of success with. And when those show up, I try to cover them as best I can, because that is the audience that I imagine watches this channel. They just want something that they can pick up and play and just go. And I think that this is the kind of deck that you will be able to pick up, play, and have success with. Nebula is by far the best one drop for a deck like this, which is looking to leverage the ability to prevent your opponent from playing places. Nebula being like a 1-5 or a 1-7 is obviously phenomenal. Nebula dying to Killmonger is obviously not, but you aren't hyper invested in one drops, so you do have to keep Killmonger in mind when you rely on Nebula. But I'm still very often, if I have a Nebula and I have a Storm, yeah, the Storm is probably going in the Nebula lane, even if it might get Killmongered later, especially since many Serra decks are trimming on Killmonger due to its lack of function in the Serra mirror. Medusa is just a 2-5, and getting priority is incredibly important in a deck like this that is looking to leverage Alioth, as is winning one lane that is not the Storm lane. However, Medusa can do double duty. For example, she can be paired on turn 5 with a 3-cost 4 drop off of Zabu in that middle lane, or you can use her as a sort of guidepost for where the Storm to goes. Same as with Nebula. If you have a Medusa in the middle, you can play a Storm there. You are reasonably pretty far ahead. You have maybe a Doom to back it up later. You are able to feel confident not playing your turn 4 card into that lane, play the turn 4 card elsewhere, and generally feel very good about winning multiple lanes from that situation, based almost entirely on Medusa just being bigger than most of the other 2 drops in the entire game. That is her utility in this deck. She has a little bit of double duty, but mostly she's just a 2-5. This deck is very much a Zabu deck. There are really 2 things that you want to see in your opening hand. One is like Medusa Storm or Nebula Storm, and the other one is just Zabu and stuff. And if you are not Zabuing a 4-drop out or playing Storm on 3 with some early game, a lot of the time the deck does not do what you want it to do. But when you are doing those things, it is incredibly powerful. Now, there is some degree to which that will feel like it is in the hands of the RNG gods, and it is. But right now, this is the best way to build Lockdown because of the power that 4 drops can give you, because of just how much better they are than the average 3. Even in a deck like this, having those 4 drops is incredibly important in order to get ahead early and stay ahead into the late game. Jeff is kind of just a free inclusion. He fixes a lot of your mistakes. You really want to be playing a 2-drop on 2, and he allows you to play into those locations late. It is not unheard of to go Jeff plus Shang-Chi on the final turn of the game. It's much weaker in terms of pure points than most of your other plays that you'll be able to make, but Shang-Chi is really that good, and Jeff happens to cost 2, and that is totally fine. Slap him in a Storm lane, win the Storm lane, win the other lane with Shang-Chi. It's a thing that happens. Moreover, you're a lockdown deck. There's really no excuse not to play Jeff. Without this card in your deck, I don't know how good you actually are. Storm on 3 is unbelievably strong with a deck like this, because you have nearly infinite ability to back buff that lane, and not a lot of other decks can match you. Between Miss Marvel, Vision, a scaling Nebula, a large Medusa, a Doctor Doom, all of those things coming off of a Iron Lad, there is just so much that allows you to win these storm lanes. It's like a critical mass of just enormous stuff that wins storm lanes. Now, I'm going to also talk about Jessica Jones here a little bit. So, in the context of Storm, Jessica Jones and Storm often ends up being a little bit overkill. Or at least, it's not one of the plays you love making, right? Like, you're fine going Storm into Jessica Jones, but because we talked about all the ways you have to back buff those lanes, one of the strongest plays you can make is make them play their turn for there and then invalidate it with something like Miss Marvel or Doctor Doom or a scaling Nebula in that lane. Like, that is one of the strongest plays you can make, because then you can develop a different lane and that allows you to be ahead. However, Jessica Jones does have some major utility with Storm, and that is your job is to get ahead and play Alioth some of the time, and Jessica Jones is very good at making that happen. There's really no reason to not play Shang-Chi in pretty much any deck in Marvel Snap, and this, of course, is a deck that plays Zabu in order to facilitate the curve, and so for that reason, we are playing Shang-Chi. This card is amazing. There's really nothing else to say about it. Play Shang-Chi in most decks. Miss Marvel is a required card. While I was playing this list, I had people come into chat and say, like, can I replace Miss Marvel with Omega Red? The answer is no, you can't. Miss Marvel is much bigger and much more in your control. The difference between Miss Marvel and Omega Red is that Omega Red puts things in the hands of your opponent. Your opponent can contest that lane, your opponent can try to beat you on it, and that makes Omega Red bad. Miss Marvel puts things in your hands, and this deck is actually very good at making sure that Miss Marvel does the thing that she wants to do, thanks to the power of cards like Jeff, Vision, and Doctor Doom. You are very often able to create those scenarios where Miss Marvel is just a 4/14 and one of the best cards in the entire game. You do have some worries about cards like Enchantress blowing her up, so you do have to have some consideration, and for that reason, it's actually kind of sick to do things like Medusa on 2 into the middle lane, Storm on 3 into the middle lane, Miss Marvel on 4 into the middle lane, and that way you have your Miss Marvel actually protected from things like Enchantress. Things like that will help you get better at this deck. Iron Lad is partially there because he's just a really safe card to play out. Like, you don't necessarily want to be playing Jessica Jones all the time very early. You don't necessarily want to be playing your Miss Marvel out very early because it could get Enchantress, things of that nature. And I do think that generally speaking, Iron Lad is just like super safe to play out early. Sometimes he's also like a Hail Mary when there's 2 cards left in the deck. You go for a 50-50 on like an Alioth or a Doom or something. That will happen, and it is worth calculating for. But a lot of the time, it's just you go Zabu into Iron Lad, and you just feel really good about it. And that there are just so many insane hits. Like, obviously, like the Doom and stuff. But like most hits in this deck, Jeff, Vision, that kind of stuff is like really complex to deal with for your opponent. Obviously, hitting Miss Marvel and Doom is great. Yes, you often play him in the middle in case you can hit a Miss Marvel. Like, yeah, you got to think about this stuff. But mostly, he just hits good stuff. Middle placement for him is actually pretty important. But other than that, you should be good to go. Vision is actually a little bit worse than I expected him to be. There's this thing that happens with this deck where it's like you don't want to over-index for winning the Storm lane. And this deck actually does come pretty close to over-indexing for winning the Storm lane. Because like, if you have to move the Vision into the Storm lane to win it, you're probably losing. However, he does enable you to do things like move the Vision in to win the Storm lane, win the lane the Vision was in with an Alioth because you took priority. Things like that can work, but it's a little bit worse than it looks in a deck like this. Like, there is legitimate worry of over-indexing to win one lane. I think the fact that you have Alioth in here is what keeps Vision in here, because setting those up is just such a critical thing to do, and he lets you play for priority without locking you into those locations. Everyone's least favorite, Purple Fart Cloud, is a pretty important card in this deck, but it's a card where it's like, a lot of the time I play it, it's like, you know, if this were a Doctor Doom, I would have also won this game, right? Alioth is there because of the threat that you can leverage when people know you have it, but it's also there because it's pretty good. You are able to be a deck that either focuses on 2 lanes or focuses on 3 lanes. Obviously, Doom is the spread card, Alioth is the 2-lane card, and this kind of play pattern is generally good to have. You have this variability between what your opponent can expect on the final turn of the game, and honestly, people stay into Alioth a bit more than they should. He's a pretty good card right now. I think he's pretty important, but don't get sucked in. Like, you don't always have to be an Alioth deck. This deck with Miss Marvel, with Doctor Doom, is actually built to win 3 lanes some of the time. Like, it does that pretty damn well. It is almost comparable to Darkhawk decks in that way. And it's a little bit weaker, but it's pretty comparable. So don't get sucked into only being an Alioth gamer. Don't get Alioth brain. You'll see that later in the clips that we're going to watch after. We're going to see some of my gameplay. There's definitely some games where I get Alioth brain and could have gotten punished for it. The man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Doom. This is consistently like the best 6-drop in Marvel Snap. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is a 615 that helps you turn on Miss Marvel and put stuff into your storm lanes. There's really nothing else to say. This is a lockdown staple. In as much as it is already probably the best 6-drop in the game, it is even better in this deck. There is no reason to play anything other than Dr. Doom in this spot, and I think at this point everyone should know that he is the highest priority free Series 3 card to pick up. He is the highest one. It is Dr. Doom without question, and I think hopefully everyone watching this does have him. All right, y'all, I'm glad that you made it this far in the video, and I'm hopeful that you enjoyed it if you made it this far. As always, I've been KM Best. Please remember to like, subscribe, do all the things that make my dopamine chemicals go burr. I like seeing those numbers go up in-game and on my YouTube studio page, so please do those things. Thank you so much. I've been KM Best. You've been phenomenal. I will see you in the next one, and we're about to jump into some gameplay of me playing this deck in High Infinite. Is he cooking? Pulls up. Okay, again, no Zabu. No Zabu in this deck is real bad. It's kind of how we do most of our stuff. We put the Jeff in the middle because it's likely where we're going to get priority. Okay, they have Zabu and we don't, which is very bad. Okay, now we do have Zabu. A turn late, but, you know, what can you do? We are likely going to Iron Lad left next turn. It is possible. Whoa! Okay, now I actually want a Jessica Jones left and then Vision right. That is no longer very relevant. I'm gonna snap here. Glad Doom is a classic. Yeah. Yeah. I realize I'm just giving them a card for them to Loki, but what can you do, right? There's Sarah? Oh. Well, you know. I'm gonna Alioth right and move mid because it's a lot harder for me to try to contest that right lane with a Miss Marvel sitting there. And we're just saying, I hope you can't get enough points in the middle, which they already used Gladiator. It is fairly plausible. Unless Doom. We could lose to a Dr. Doom here, yes. Yeah, we're good. Al to the Alioth. Taking it down. This could be good for us, but it currently is not. Oh, fuck. That's the worst hit. I'm learning so much from your losses. Yep, that's the goal, baby. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. I do like this vision in the middle, but I don't like it better than, say, drawing a Doctor Doom, you know? I think of Dara running Goose in this list. I haven't thought about it at all. Oh, there goes my vision play. All right, fair enough. Ah. So now we are looking at... something like this. Obviously, if it's Miss Marvel, we feel pretty stupid. But if it's like Jeff or... ooh, if it's Storm, we feel stupid. Oh, God. Are we sure Nebula's in this deck, by the way? Please don't be Storm. Please don't punish me for this. Oh, thank God. Nebula is in the deck. We learned something today, chat. Look at all the learning I'm doing. Wait, does that work the way they want? They draw the 2, but it doesn't count for Vormir. Do we win or lose? I don't know. I simply do not know. You can Shang the Wolf. Oh, I probably should have done that. Oh my God! I could have just played Shang Jeff win the game. I'm a moron. Holy shit. I just didn't even process it. We're gonna die now because of this. Wait, what? Never mind, we win because of Nebula. We literally win because of the Nebula Iron Lad proc. Based. I'm the greatest gamer of all time. Nobody's better than me. There are situations where I think it's reasonable for you to make fun of me. That one's not one of them. Yeah, we actually have a turn 1 Nebula. It's crazy. I didn't know we could do that. Nice. There's a lot of great Iron Lad hits here, I think. I don't know which one they're gonna blow up, but we are likely to have some solid plays here. Yeah, double vision. Hello? So the Korg blows up DD. Makes sense. The Forge. Okay, can I draw Shang-Chi, Doom, Alioth, any of those cards? That'll work, except... $11, then likely 12, 13. Let's try that. Whoop-boom! Okay. Get out of here. The best. I gotta say, I don't think I like any of them that much. What was that sound effect? Is it new? You mean me going whoop-paw? Yeah, it's new. Okay, so with Iron Lad, do I just always go left with it because of the possibility for like Jessica Jones, Doctor Doom kind of thing? Are we just always lad left gamers here on this? I am comfortable with it. Oh, hello. Holy shit. When did Winter Soldier get a cool animation? That's a good question. I will simply top deck Doctor Doom here. Oh shit, I actually did simply top deck Doctor Doom here? Oh damn. Is that even the right play? Is that even the right play? So like we go 8 here, that's 6. We go Doom, that's 6 more. We go to 14 in the middle. 10 everywhere else, and just say, you know, that's probably good enough. Vision right. Why would I vision right? It does not get us the Doom buff there. I will snap and die, probably. I will snap and die. That's what I've decided. If they have death, I'm actually just gonna lose it. Die, 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 die! Yes! I'm a lucky Danger Room gamer. Oh, it didn't matter. I finally luck sacked the Danger Room. I wish it had mattered. That situation, I'd have to go back to it and look. I had not, at the time, logic through all of the situations I would have needed to be in. There was a lot to think about. And I had not gone through it all. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I did. Does this deck still work with Omega Red instead of Miss Marvel? I don't believe so. If not, what's the best substitution for Miss Marvel? I don't believe there is one. Is Saratek good if I don't have Miss Marvel? In my opinion, no. Is Supergiant good or nah? Closer to nah, I would say. I would think the answer to that question is a nah. Okay. So we have Miss M Vision Doom. It's pretty fucking good. Is Miss Marvel just the biggest miss in my card collection? Yes. For sure. She's a big miss. Aw, you killed a Jeff? That's so cruel. That's such a messed up thing to do. A monster, yeah. Agree. He comes back? Oh, shit, he does! Woo, I got my Jeff back! Let's go! I'm snapping on getting the Jeff back. That might be, like, kind of stupid, but I'm doing it anyway. He's back, Chad. He's coming back. Holy shit. It's so over for these hoes. Oh, no, it's over for me. Wait, no, it's not over for me. We got El Jefe back. Okay, I got a 50-50 on Alioth if I want it. I got a 50-50 on Alioth if I want to take it. Well, the question is, can I come up with a winning Doom line? Losing my Miss Marvel is real bad. It's always Alioth. It's always Alioth here, 100%. What? What? What's happening? We win! Okay! Not being Alioth won us the game. Mini lab. Can I get a Nebula to throw in there? That would be the dream. Oh. Yeah, I think 2 Medusas is probably pretty good. Do we go 2 Medusas into 2 Jeffs? Sure. I'm 100% cool with that. Do I value the drawing the card more or no? No, I don't. I can just get it off of this. See? I feel like, way too much shit off of that to ever feel like I'm gonna lose it. I am literally overjoyed to slap a Miss Marvel down there. That is just the best shit anyone could ever do for me. Do I play the Nebula? Do we think it'll ever matter? I mean, it probably won't if I'm ever going to play. No, it will. I don't play the Nebula. Am I just a Doom gamer here? I could just be a Doom gamer here. We go, how does Alioth lose? Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, see, we beat their Doom. Because that's our Miss Marvel. Yep.